Hey, you sound like a lion.
I sound like a lion? Oh, man. Okay, hang on one second. Let's see if I can
I don't
fix
know what's
this.
going on, but
How do I say? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
now I can. Oh, there we go.
Is that better?
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
Okay, very good.
Almost Arnold Schwarzenegger.
What's that?
You sounded like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
California. I'm the governor.
Yeah, yeah.
Stop it.
I don't have a.
Stop it. Hey, welcome everybody. We're not here to do Arnold Schwarzenegger impressions as much as that might have been why you were coming. I'm sorry to get your hopes up. We're here to talk about mules and donkeys. My name's Dave. This is Steve Edwards. Every Wednesday we get together on Facebook and YouTube and just broadcast to talk about mules and donkeys. It's really that simple. There's not a whole lot to it. We show up. You guys ask questions, we give answers, you ask follow-ups, and then we say bye and then do it again next week. So I'm very excited that you are choosing to spend a little bit of your Wednesday with us. Steve, how has the last 7 days been out there on the ranch?
It's a home on the range. It's great. It's been terrific. I've been down at Randy's down at the Andrada Ranch. I got a couple new donkeys.
Yeah.
Oh man, do we got a couple nice donkeys, and Randy is excited about that. So in a few days, I'm gonna go down there again. We're gonna work these donkeys some more, and we're looking up there, you know. And also, we got a new thing out here. We every morning, Jess and I go out. We take some bird feed and we throw it out, and the quail and dove they all come in, you know. Well, the past 2 weeks, we've had a great horned owl found out that we got the greatest smorgasbord in the world out here. And this great horned owl is out here in the tree right now, just sitting there waiting for
Chilling.
dinner.
Waiting.
Yep. Yeah,
That's
pretty
awesome.
cool.
That's awesome. Well, that's the type of stuff
And
that you see out on the ranch, right? That's the type of stuff that you see out on the ranch. And if folks didn't know, we are actually inviting you guys out to the ranch first weekend in March. Now, see, the ranch is typically closed to the public, except for when we have a live clinic, and that's what we're doing the first weekend in March. Participant spots are all taken up. Those sold out a while ago. We knew they would. I told everyone, I said they're gonna sell out. If you want them, get them now, and they sold out. But we have plenty of spectator spots still available. Steve, what are folks gonna experience when they come out first weekend in March?
it's going to be a lot of fun. I do things like this. I look for the mule's comfort first. All right. We talk about bits, we talk about saddles, we talk about halters, we talk about ground manners and things like this. And that's one of the first things that we'll do is go through that process. And then next we start talking about how the person communicates with the mule. So we got 11 riders with in hand, and we'll be doing groundwork to start with, and this sort of thing. Now, my groundwork is the natural groundwork. In other words, I already know the mule knows by nature how to turn on the forehand, turn on the hindquarters, side pass. They already know that. They do it by nature. But what we're going to do is we're going to teach them cues so that they understand what the person that is their herd leader, we teach them a cue to say, okay, now side pass, now turn on the forehand, this sort of thing. So it's going to be pretty awesome. We'll get people in the saddle and riding as well. I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be great. And so, folks, I'm putting a comment in the I'm putting a link in the comment section there where y'all can go and you can find information about signing up to be a spectator. You can come for one day. You can come for both days. Whichever days you come from, you're going to leave with a whole lot more in your tool chest to gain trust and get results in your training, especially in that foundational ground foundation training. If you can't control on the ground, you can't control in the saddle. And well, we just, quite frankly, we want you to be in control as much as possible, and that's what this clinic is all about. I'm going to go ahead and get started while we're waiting folks to jump on. I'm going to start with our first question of the day, and this one was emailed into us by Kendra. Kendra sent a message saying, I bought a Molly mule 2 weeks ago from a guy in Missouri, and long story short, I can't catch her. The only way is to rope her. She's little fighty. Any suggestions?
Don't buy mules in Missouri. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, what you got to do is get a hold of David Pengali and get some of David's coffee and get yourself wired up, because you're getting ready to go to work. Because here it is, folks. This happens all the time. You know, you see these pictures and you see the videos of people doing things. But how come we don't see people catching them or picking up their feet or saddling or bridling? All that's important, folks, from the very beginning. So, number one, she takes the mule and she puts it in a small pen. 10 by 20 is what my pens are. 10 by 20. At the biggest, 20 by 20. That's number one. Okay? Do not, folks, do not put your mule in a round pen. Feed them, water them, train on them in a round pen. No. They need their place, their time, their pen. They need the round pen to be, they know there's going to be work there, and this is where I got my time. Now, you know, that is going to be the first part. She's going to have to do not, folks, when you bring a mule home, don't just turn it out in a big field and say, Fluffy's going to come to me. No, once you turn Fluffy loose, Fluffy wants to go see everything out there. And if you got other horses, you just lost control. So take them home, put them in a small pen. Now, you're going to have to, you know, I realize that everybody's training area is not set up so that you can work all the time. Mine's set up that if I have a mule that I'm working with, I have what I call a bronc pen. That mule stays in that bronc pen. When I get ready to go to training into the round pen, I just open the gates and the mule goes out and I don't have to catch him or anything, and they go in the round pen and then I go to work. It is time consuming. People, unfortunately, folks, we only look at the riding aspects and we don't look at what it takes to get there. So it's like buying a car. It looks pretty on the outside, but is it really mechanically sound? And so we run into this. So what do I do? You do not train a mule in a round pen like you do a horse. In other words, you don't have them go around, turn and face you and come to you. I don't do that. My video, How to Communicate, is an actual training program that we had done quite a number of years ago. And we got some new ones coming up here, Dave, from that. I guess that clinic you and I did, what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Yep.
That we can be doing anyway. So the big thing is get them in a small pen, and then after that, it's a lot of work. It really is. It's one of the hardest things that people have to deal with, and that's simply because we approach the mule in the wrong way. We have the nose, we have the shoulder, we have the hip. When you are approaching an equine, always approach the shoulder, neutral zone. If you approach the nose, you're doing three things: go away from me, come to me, stop. And you can do a fourth thing as things go along, and that is back up. So how did the mule get this way to start with? Is people were approaching it like they're sneaking up on the lion. Come on, Fluffy. It's okay. Here's a carrot. Come on, shut up, folks. Be quiet. You don't need to say a word. Only thing they understand is they hear you're worrisome, okay? So when you approach them, approach the shoulder. Now, when you're approaching the shoulder, if that mule's looking at you, it's saying, come on, visitation's on. If the mule looks away, you stop. Step to the right a little bit. Again, you'll see all this in the video. And eventually you get to where you can start touching them. But don't approach the head, approach the shoulder. Use your come along rope, and it's the extension of your hand. So as you throw that rope out, if it hits on the ground, that's okay, that's your hand. If it hits on the side of them, that's okay, that's your hand. It's an extension of your body. And so doing round pen work to catch one is a time-consuming situation.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Number one, time-consuming situation. There's no way around it. It's just what it takes. But number two, one thing folks don't realize is that you don't want to be training, if I understand you correct, Steve, you don't want to be training too much, and you don't need to train every day. So it really stretches out the process, but it's necessary because is the mule just not able to handle that much training?
They can't handle the stress of it. Okay, you got to remember the part of their brain that handles the unnatural things is only the size of a walnut. That's all. So we're trying to pack a lot of the information into that. And especially, folks, if you're trying to do like horse training, round pen training, John Lyons, round pen reasoning, this sort of thing, to where you run one so long that they're rolling in sweat. That was not what John had planned anyway. That's another story. The round pen work needs to be short segments, except small tries. And if you don't have your corrals and stuff set up, it makes it tough, because if you can't catch them, you can't put a come-along hitch on them. And if you can't put a come-along hitch on them, you can't lead them. So it's tough. You got your next 4 to 6 hours a week over the next 6 months is going to be grueling.
4 to 6 hours a week, not 4 to 6 hours a day.
No.
4 to 6 hours a week.
That's a lot of training. That mule, if you keep on pushing that mule, folks, that mule's going to end up saying, I don't want to see no more of you. I'm done with you. Okay? But here's what happens. We're sneaking up on him. Here's a carrot, Fluffy. Here's a carrot. And then all of a sudden, Fluffy takes off, and we're standing there going, well, Fluffy, why didn't you take your carrot? No, what you should have done is as soon as Fluffy took off, then you hoot and holler and yell, because you need to get them to understand that you are the best place for that mule to be. And if that mule leaves you, that mule is going to pay the price. So if you want to use the excuse of flight and fright, when you go off, I sound like 1,000 soldiers coming at, yelling and screaming and throwing my arms. I make it hard on them. And then as I come up again, I'm aggressive. I am squared-shouldered. I am not looking down. If you look down, you're telling that mule you want to be in its herd. But you look straight ahead, throw your chest out, throw your shoulders back, and walk straight toward that shoulder. Now this is your timing. The split second that mule is looking at you and says, come on, visiting hours are on. But as soon as he turns his head, you stop. What do most people do? Keep on going. What the mule has just done, when he turned his head and he stopped, what did he just do? He just said, visiting hours are over. Okay, listen to him. Watch him. Go along with him in a part, and then step a little bit to the right. He's going to go, why did you move? And he's watching you. And then he turns his head back around here again, and you move a step to the right again. He's going to look at, why did you move? Well, pretty soon, he's looking way over here, and his body's turned, and he's thinking, boy, my neck is sure starting to get sore here. I'm sure uncomfortable. And then pretty soon he turns his butt and turns and faces you, So that's one of the things you're going to see in this video, my how-to video. In the very beginning, I got a lady that I'm helping out. Biggest thing is, folks, when you get them home, don't turn them free. You get them home, put them in the hitching post, brush them, scratch them, put them in their small corral, take them out of their small corral, keep them in a small corral. Oh, but Steve, I got all this pasture. Do what you want to do, but you need to keep them in a small corral.
That's awesome. All right, folks, if you are watching, be sure to put your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather's like. We want to say hi to you. There, in this new technology age where everybody is text message this, chat bot that, we say no. We want to know that you're here. We want to say your name. We want to greet you here face to face. And so if you're watching, please just let us know that you're here so we can acknowledge you. And we do have a few folks here watching right now. We've got, let's see, Naomi is watching from, Naomi and Butch are watching from southeastern Washington, 36 degrees and sunny. Hey, right off the bat, we have gone international. Get that glockenspiel going there. We've got Faye watching, and we know Faye is in the land down under. And Steve, you're getting ready to do something in the land down under. coming up here in the next.
Yeah, it's going to be a little shh. Folks in Australia, get ready because things are going to be happening in Australia that's going to blow your mind, and it's got nothing to do with other things. It's got to do with mules and donkeys. You're getting ready to see mules and donkeys in a big way. You're not going to believe what's going to happen here, Australia. Stay tuned. Stay tuned because Australia, we got something for you.
Stay tuned. Rip's watching, says just got in from a nice ride. Rip, I'll tell you what, that seems to be you every single week. Just got in for a nice ride. Rip's living the dream. Rip is living the dream. It'll be good to meet you when you come down. Yeah, he's coming to the clinic. It'll be good to meet you, Rip. Tanya's watching from Old Town, Florida. Beautiful day. Glad to hear it. Carrie is watching from Iowa. She says cold, 10 degrees with lows of -2 tonight. Brrr. I'll tell you what, my brother lives in Alaska, and I was talking to him. I'm coming to you live from Chandler today in my parents' house. I was talking to him on the phone as I was driving over to my folks' house today, and he's like, we just came down to the Mule, let my little 2-year-old blow off some steam. I was like, oh, was he having a rough day? He goes, well, no, not really, but when it's -10 degrees as a high, he's like, it's hard to really get out and do anything. So we just come to the mall so he can run around. I was like, well, that makes sense. We've got Rose watching, says, where can I find more videos of come along training? Rose, great question. I am going to put a link in the comments section where you can find some. But Steve, are there any of your instructional videos that are really great for come along rope training?
Well, my suggestion is my video called Problem Mule Build a New Foundation. I have put together a kit, Dave, with a halter, an adjustable rope halter, and the come along and the how-to video. Folks, it's one thing putting it on, it's another thing using it. Now, at my clinic, you are flat going to see come along rope being used. It is my favorite tool. It puts a nice foundation. But the biggest problem that people have, Dave, is timing. Timing. When to move their hands at the right time. When to move their legs at the right time. So what the come along hitch do? It's not just to teach them to ride. It's not just to teach them to lead or to drive. It's to teach you, how to communicate so that when you do get in the saddle, kabang, you got it.
That's awesome. So I put a link in the comment section to a video where Steve, it starts out with, let's see, ground foundation training. There we go, problem mule. It starts out with a couple individuals. It's a husband and wife, and it starts out in the pen, catching them on your terms. And that's why we're in the pen, because out in pasture, they don't need you. And the number one thing that I've learned, and correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, the number one thing that I've learned about mules is their favorite thing in the world more than anything else is to be left alone. That is the biggest reward you could ever give them, is to be left alone. So if they're out in pasture, why would they ever want to come to you? Because they've already got their reward. They want their cake and eat it too. So it starts off in this video series showing a husband and wife individually trying to catch their mule in a I think it was like a 10 by 20 stall, something like that, and it shows you everything that you need to know about catching them, putting the come along rope on, and then doing some basic training on the ground. That's where you want to start. Get the problem mule video if you already have the come along rope and the rope halter. If you don't have any of those, get the ground foundation kit. Like, you will not be disappointed. There's only one thing we tell people to buy. Everything else we say, hey, it's your choice. But we tell you, for your benefit, for the mule's benefit, get the ground foundation starting kit. It truly is an amazing tool in your tool belt. Steve, I got another question here. This one's from Eva. Eva says, I'm traveling with 2 oxen and a cart spring to autumn since 8 years all through Europe. Sometimes it would be good to change the cart with pack saddle, but I couldn't find one fitting the oxen properly. I tried the Swiss Army one and one for a yak with no success. Do you ever try yours in cattle? Of course, as well within cattle, there are differences in breeds and therefore backs, but I have to start somewhere. Can you help? We've never had this question before, Eva. Steve.
I'm going to tell you something. In China, we actually sent some saddles to China. And they actually used them on a variety of animals, and oxen was one of them. Now, these saddles are completely adjustable. The bars adjust, the arches adjust, and I I think it'd be pretty cool that if you sent me some pictures showing that pack saddle sitting on an oxen, that'd be interesting. But there it is, folks. You can take and adjust this saddle any way you want to adjust it. That pack saddle is how I learned how to design a saddle that was going to fit every single mule, because the bars moved and the arches moved. So I was able to find the angles that made it work. And we can't say perfect. Fit perfect, no, because here it is, folks. Just in one weekend ride, pack trip, anything, you can drop 100 pounds. So you're going to lose some fat here and some muscle here, and that's why the adjustable pack saddle works. So what I did was I designed a riding saddle that was consistent with the animal's movements up and down the trail. So there it is. I think that oxen ought to give that a try.
That would be pretty cool to hear that, and that would be awesome to get pictures from. Let's see here. Continuing back over, welcoming folks. Floyd is watching, 34 degrees here in Canton, Texas. Received my saddle today. Thank you for all the advice. Here's one thing folks don't know. Steve calls everyone to talk about their order and make sure that they got exactly what they needed. So Floyd, I'm guessing you've already talked to Floyd. You knew exactly what Floyd needed, and he got a little bit of advice from you. So that's pretty cool. Thanks for sharing, Floyd. We'll be excited to see pictures. Herman is watching, says, hi, Steve and Dave. Herman, we're glad to have you here. And Rose says she's watching from Tennessee. David Walls is watching from Kentucky. Ice storm here, and they are calling for us to get 3/4 of an inch. And I'm assuming that's snow, right? 3/4 of an inch, or maybe rain, ice, sleet. Ugh. Yeah. It just sounds yuck all the way around. Stay safe, David. Stay safe. Rose says the weather is nice. Storm is expected tonight. Maybe it is. Maybe it's going to storm in Tennessee. Wayne is watching from Alabama. Beth is watching from Central North Carolina. Clean installs, crummy, cold, and drizzly. But you know what? Someone's got to do it. You're strong, you're brave, and you're out there doing it, Beth. I know that those animals are going to be happy from it. Alicia's watching, says, glad to be able to tune in today. Chilly nights here in Colorado. You know what, Alicia? I'm coming out to Colorado. I'm taking my wife on a 3-day date. We're going to go to Denver. We're going to spend 3 days just hanging out with one another and getting away. Grandma's going to watch the kids. It's going to be good. So keep that weather nice and cool there so we have something to look forward to. Cowboy Ken is watching. Yeah, that's right. Cowboy Ken says 28 inches in Connecticut. My goodness. Oh, 28 in Connecticut. There we go. 28 inches.
Okay.
Bill is watching, says it's sunny. Kelsey is watching, says watching from Wisconsin, 11 degrees. And now we've got a question from Alicia. She says, I've been working with my mammoth on his feet since he got an abscess and got very sensitive on that leg. Won't even let me pick it up. I had to sedate him when the farrier came last time. How can I improve feet handling and not have him plow me over when the farrier is there and I have the come-along hitch on? So, Steve, is this a humane twitch thing?
It can be the humane twitch as well, but also, Dave, the come-along hitch is a key word. Now, we're talking front leg, back leg, because remember, when we pick up a back leg, your hand is on the hip. For instance, on the near side, which will be the left-hand side, on your near side, you're standing facing the back. You put your hand on the hip bone. You feel the donkey move away from it. You slide your hand down, and in this hand, I've got the come-along rope. Or would be the best thing to do is if you got somebody that can stand there. But Dave's going to send you a short clip of me working with a mule that didn't want to let his back foot be picked up. And remember, folks, when you pick up a back foot on a mule or a donkey, bring it forward first, then straight back and to the left. Don't pick it up and go out. You didn't uncock the hip. So now the donkey's going, hey, that's sore. It's not just completely a matter of fixing that problem. So if it's a back foot, there's your problem. If it's a front foot, okay, we can deal with that. Come along, hitch, and quirk, which I think we got some videos of picking up the front feet as well, don't we?
I think so. I'm putting a link in the comments section to problems picking up the foot, and this video, it's got over 20,000 views. It is uncut, meaning we don't chop any parts out. It's 9 minutes and 32 seconds, and if you ever have watched Steve Edwards' videos and thought to yourself, well, he just steps in there, touches it, and touches the rope, and they do whatever he says. Not true. Sometimes it works that way, but more often than not, there's some refined communication that has to happen. And beyond that, this right here is 9 minutes of proof that not even Steve Edwards can just touch a rope and expect a mule to listen. There's got to be some communication, and Steve gives you 9 minutes and 32 seconds showing what patient, strong, herd leader communication looks like when you're trying to pick up the rear foot and this animal doesn't want to do it. So check out that video. It's going to be a huge encouragement to you, but it's also going to be a very big help to you as well. Let's continue. What's that?
And it's free.
And it's free. Yeah, it's absolutely free.
Word I use all the time.
Best price ever. We've got Trinity watching. It's 1 below 0 here in Wyoming. We can't wait to enjoy your Arizona weather in a few weeks. We are excited to be a spectator at the clinic. Trinity, it'll be so good to meet you. I'm excited to meet everybody that's coming out. I know Steve is excited to see everyone as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll put a link in the comment section. If you're just tuning in and you're like, what? Meeting Steve Edwards? Where? When? First weekend in March. Queen Valley, Arizona. I'll give you the link. Come on out, hang out with us. Let's see here. Rex is watching from Wyoming. We got a lot of Wyoming today. 34 degrees and windy. Linda is watching from northwestern Pennsylvania. 20 degrees dropping. Last night it was 9, not snowing today. Good grief. Hope you got the fireplace going. Amy is watching. Amy, granddaughter's mom from Missouri, or M.O., Montana?
Missouri.
With ice. Temps in the teens and contrary internet connection. Have you a come-along rope for the internet? The internet is just being a little bit feisty. We need to have some leadership with that internet. I'll get on that and see what we can do, Amy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rex says he's looking forward to seeing you at the clinic. Kelsey says, I wish I could see you at our state capital, Midwest Horse Fair in Madison, Wisconsin, usually in April. Would be fabulous to see and listen to you. Here's the thing, Kelsey. I don't know what the COVID rules are looking like this year and who's doing what, but I can tell you, if you want to see Steve Edwards, there's one way to make it happen. And it isn't Steve Edwards calling up saying, hey, I'd like to present, because that doesn't work. They want to hear from the people who are going to attend. So if you've got several folks who are going to be attending, and this goes for anyone anywhere, if you've got several folks who want Steve Edwards to attend an event, you call the organizers and have all of those people call him, and they'll reach out, they'll get a hold of Steve, and they'll get him out there. That's the way to make it happen. So we would love that. Stephanie is watching from Missouri. Jackie is watching from New Mexico. My new saddle arrives tomorrow. Can't wait. Thanks for the call, Steve. Jackie, I'm so glad that you found us. We were actually looking for you. We've been putting out resources and videos and articles and everything, and you finally found us. We finally found you. It's so good to have you in the herd. Ashley is watching from Freezing, Texas, and we've got Beth says, just bought a show mule. We're just starting her under saddle now, and it's clear traditional saddles aren't going to work. If I've heard it once, I've heard it a million times. So, when you have a mule bred to do the fancy things, but there is not a tack that truly fits them to do said fancy things, what do? I'm not willing to sacrifice health and well-being for style, but I'm at a loss. Steve, we get this a lot. We have questions about the dressage and then the mules and then the showing and competitions. This is not a new question. I know Beth would appreciate some help.
Well, I wish I could tell you, because I would love to seeing mules under dressage is a wonderful thing. But seeing mules under dressage, under stress, is not the thing that I like to see. And have I seen it? Oh, yes. Boy, the mule looks good. Everybody's going to look at that. But you know what? That mule is stressed out big time because the amount of pressure it's under. And that's another story. But let's go back. you're going to develop some problems with showing, because unfortunately, I'm sorry to say this, folks, and I see it all the time in these mule shows. It looks more like a quarter horse show than it does a mule show. Okay, back when I was competing at Bishop in the late '80s, people were riding breechings. You could see working cowboys in chaps that weren't shiny with a bunch of stars on them, and you seen the real thing. Today, unfortunately, we're seeing mule shows that look more like quarter horse shows. So let's go back. If you truly want your mule to be comfortable, you're truly going to have to ride with a breeching. You're going to have to ride with a rear cinch. And then if you want to dress pretty, that's up to you. But if you want your saddle to stay in place, don't do like everybody else that are in the mule world right now that come from the horse world, where there's no rear cinch and the back of the cinch is doing this. And everybody's saying, wow, look at that mule go. But nobody sees the mule under stress. They're only seeing it do the dog and pony shows. And I'm being brutally honest here, folks. I mean, the last one I was at, I was hurting for the mule. You know, it was not good. And I can tell you, I got folks that sit with me all the time. The few times that I go to shows or auctions, and say, "What are you seeing, Steve? What are you seeing?" And I tell them, "Look at the head. Look at the mule's head elevated. Why is the mule head elevated? One, because the rider's holding on to him. Two, because that saddle is banging on the scapula, and they're trying to get their head up in the air so they can keep you off the scapula." I had a guy call me today. He said, "Steve, I was looking at this mule, and I bought this mule, and I wished I saw your videos to start with, because now I'm seeing how this mule has developed some problems because of the tack it was riding." So going back to this, I've got the tack that's going to work. I can get real fancy on all the skirting and everything. So I would suggest to you would be the extreme ultralight, 20 pounds, stamped out. You can work cattle with it, or you can show in a show, you know. But there you are. Please, please, please do your mule right, and don't make it look like a horse.
Yep. The thing is, and a lot of folks, this is something that is new to hear, is that the mules, donkeys especially, I think, if I'm recalling, but the mule and donkey, they're stoic and they don't show pain. They don't show stress the same way, well, number one, the same way humans do, but even the same way other equine and livestock do. Talk a little bit about that, Steve, and why that is important to know about your mule.
One of the awesome things, Dave, is the ability of these mules to do about everything: pack an outfit, pull a wagon, and ride. And they can also do the dressage, the jumping, and all that stuff. But here's the thing: because they brace into the harness and pull a wagon, because they brace into a rope when you rope something turn, what makes them so good is they are able to brace into the pressure and make it work. Well, the problem that we have is this: when we're riding and we're working, they don't show the pain that they're going through. Horses go to bucking. Mule, a lot of times, will run off. Sometimes they'll buck. Don't get me wrong. Boy, if a mule bucks, he can flat buck. But they brace into pain and pressure, and so they don't show pain like horses. Out? Oh, you mean mules colic out? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Mules can have the same identical intestinal problems as your horse. Identical. Foot problems, everything. They are not immune to feet problems and intestinal problems, stomach problems. They're not. So, going back, I have literally seen mules standing, colicking, and then drop dead within minutes. And you're thinking, they're standing doing fine. No, they're stoic. They don't show the pain like we do. Coming down a hill, they shake their head. They brace into it. Sometimes they even run off. What the horses do, buck and take off running. Okay, so there you are. And I could go into 2 hours worth of stuff there, but I'm going to stop right there.
Yeah, we could talk and talk and talk. Matter of fact, if you would like to hear Steve go on for about 2 hours, I would invite you to come to the clinic that we've got happening first weekend in March. I'm going to put a link in the comment section. It would be great to have you. Let's go back, make sure we say hi to everyone who's here. We've got Heather watching, says hi, Steve and Dave. Polly is watching from Barnesville, Minnesota. -10 with, get this, Steve, -30 wind chill. Not riding today. Laughing so hard I'm crying emoji. Beth says, can you offer a Steve Edwards bling model? I'll pay extra for rhinestones. Thank you for the honest answer. Much appreciated. Now, you do some custom stuff. I know we do some custom stamping. Have you ever put bling all over one?
I've had a couple people that want to bling it up a little bit. Yep. And we can make you anything your pocketbook can handle. Not a problem. Not a problem. If you want silver saddle, by golly, get your money ready. Here we come. We got saddle makers. They've been making saddles since 1957, Dave. And you name it, they have done it.
Yeah.
Good bunch of guys.
There's a shop at one of the malls here, local in Arizona, and it's called Love My Bling. That's what the shop is called. And you go in there, and they've got rhinestones, and you make it the way you want it, and you bling that baby out. I'll bet if you say, you know what, I'll get one of Steve Edwards saddles, I'll take it to Love My Bling, pull that saddle in there, throw it up on there next to all those women with those blouses and say, I'm here for serious business. I bet they'd get a kick out of that. Oh. We've got Sherman watching, Norman, Oklahoma, 19 degrees and getting colder. I have 2 mules I'm wanting to ride one and the other to pack. Should I train them to do both or just use one to ride and just use one to pack?
Look, here's what you guys everybody needs to consider. You cannot ride your mule 3 days in a row and not expect him to be sore. I'll challenge any of you. Put a backpack on your back every single morning with 30 pounds on it and go 3 days and see how long it takes you to be really sore for the next week, okay? So consider this. Every mule should be able to ride, drive, and pack. They have the capabilities of doing it with ease, with absolute ease. So ride, drive, and pack, yes. Both of your mules need to ride, drive, and pack. You ride one day, pack the next, and change them around like that. You'll do good.
I'm putting a link in the comment section. A lot of folks don't know, but Steve actually got his start in packing, world championships and this sort of thing. And he's got I believe it's a 3-part video series all about the basics of packing. And this is something that you definitely want to watch if you want to avoid lots of mistakes, get the most out of your packing, and just have an all-around great experience. So I put that in the comment section. Steve, get this. So Beth says, after your comment saying that you can make anything I want, my husband is making me log off. Steve just got canceled in the Merritt household. He said, turn that off.
Hey, wait a minute now. A happy life is a happy wife.
Oh, Mr. Merritt, did you hear that? Mr. Merritt, happy wife, happy life. I can attest to that. I know you too. You can attest to that as well, Steve. Shoot, I just had a question on the top of my brain, and it was this. I was wanting to know, would it be better for me to go out and purchase a brand new fresh mule, or would it be better for me to go out and purchase a mule that's been there, done that, and has the experience? Should I go young or should I go experienced? What are your thoughts there, Steve?
Well, what kind of experiences do you want? Why is it, mule community, that when you go to buy a mule, they tell you about all the good things, and you see them crossing water, going up the road with all the traffic going by. you see them going up and down, up and down, up and down. But why don't they tell you how many wrecks they've been in, how hard they are to stop? Why aren't they showing you foundational training in a 10-foot circle? Turn on the forehand, turn on the hindquarters, side pass in a 10-foot circle, okay? That is what you got to really think about, is that do you really want an older mule that's got how many bad habits compared to a younger mule that has next to no bad habits? You've got an older mule that could have all kinds of back problems because he's been ridden in a horse saddle. You've got a younger mule that's been started from the very beginning and everything's good. You've got a younger mule that's had the feet done right, then the chiropractor right, shoeing right, everything right. Or you got an older mule that's been helter-skelter, it's not been fed right. Folks, just because he's 8 years old don't mean he's had 6 years of never made a mistake. I'll guarantee you he's made a mistake. And I can also tell you that I've ridden mules all over the world. And I can tell you safely that when I go and climb on these mules, I can tell you immediately how much training they've had. Or better yet, when I put them on the end of a lead rope and I do some basics, I can tell you how much training they have. Folks think, David, because they're gentle and they're quiet around on the ground and you can get on and off them and ride with other people, by golly, they're broke. They're not. I just had one of the ladies said she's getting ready to buy a mule in Ohio, and she's gone riding. And I said, did you ride the mule by yourself? She says, no, I rode in behind a horse. Oh, greatest thing in the world. You want to make a mule look good? Put him in behind a horse.
Right.
Because everywhere the horse goes, the mule's going to go.
Right. How
are you really going to know that the mule is good? How are you going to know? Okay? You have that person climb on that mule and side pass, turn on the forehand, turn on the hindquarters in a 10-foot circle, then we can start with the rest of the stuff. We can do that. But folks, I see it time and time and time again where people have purchased mules, got them home, and now what happened to their good mule that they were riding last week?
Yeah, absolutely. Steve's got lots of stories that he can tell you, and he'll tell you those stories when you last clinic we had, about back in, I think it was 2019. I don't think we did any in 2020. I can't remember. But Steve wound up having all sorts of awesome stories, and one of those was about the World Championships back in what year was that? 90. What year was that when?
Well, I was there from about 86 to 2002.
What was the year that they just had let them all, well, I guess that was every year, but just let them go.
They did it every year.
And yours were like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of this. You know what? Just come out to the clinic in March and Steve will tell it again. I'll find I'll try to remember which one it is, and Steve will come out and tell it again. Let's see here. Let's keep going. Okay, Heather is watching from Pen Grove, California. 60 degrees. Oh, you know what? Let me scroll back up. Eileen is watching. Hello, everyone. I'm late today. We got you there, Eileen. Now, Heather from Pen Grove. We have a mule who stands perfectly still for grooming and saddling, but as soon as I walk away, he gets real antsy. Do you have any suggestions for how to help him stand quietly?
Yeah, let him stand more.
Yep.
Let him stand more. Put a properly adjusted halter on him. All right? Now, when you're riding down the trail, you don't let them look to the left or to the right. You have them look straight ahead. Now, how many of you get in your car, start the car, put it in drive, and then say, okay, car, take me to Bash's. Take me to the grocery store. You don't do that. You drive the car. Now, do you drive anywhere you want to drive? No. Between. You keep the car straight. Do the same thing with your riding animal. Don't allow them to look to the right and to the left and everywhere else. You keep them be straight. Now, going back to the hitching rail, when you have a properly adjusted rope halter, when the mule looks to the right, the halter bumps him. He looks to the left, the halter bumps him. Pretty soon he's going to say, look, if I look to the left, I'm uncomfortable. I look to the right, I'm uncomfortable. I pull back, I'm uncomfortable. So my best place is right here and be quiet. Right there. Now, it's going to take some patience on your part. The mule is going to paw. So put down a rubber mat so he can only paw on the rubber mat. Put him in the center of the hitching post so he can't go around the hitching post. Worst thing you can do, folks, is to put what people think is a good deal, and they got a pole with a chain, and the mule can go around, around, around. Listen, they'll walk for days if they need to, because they think they're going to get what they want because they've got it before. So put them in the middle of the hitching post. Let them stand there. Let them stand, okay? And when they get quiet, the split second they get quiet, go get them, groom them, or go get them and put them away. But don't put them away when they're fidgeting around. But the split second that they're quiet, get back around where you can look around a corner or something like that. Split second they're quiet, then you, hear that? You go up and get them and take them to the hitching rail.
Is that so? That's timing right there. That's working on your timing. It's just not directly, it's indirectly.
That's right. That's right. Your timing, folks, is going to mean so much to you on these mules. So much to you. You cannot overdo it when it comes down to tie them to a hitching post, unless it's 30 degrees below zero. But tie them to a hitching post and let them stand there and learn what that halter is all about.
Very good. All right. Jana has a question. Says, I have just rescued a 14-year-old mule. I have trouble getting him to stand still to take care of his feet. He leads great, trailers, but feet need attention. Any advice? Would this be similar, or is this going to be a lot different?
No, it's going to be similar. You know, I mean, you can do that as well. But here's the big thing. We're now messing with the feet. So now we got to use, you got listen, anybody in the world can have one move around. You watch a lot of these horse trainers, they say, well, just let them go until their feet stop. Well, I can't do that at the Grand Canyon. I can't do that. Let them go until their feet stop. I can't do it when I'm on the side of a mountain. When I pick up on that rein or halter or that lead rope, I want them to stop now. So one of the biggest things that you're going to see me do at this clinic is to teach one to stand still and quiet. Anybody can teach one to move because that's what they do naturally. But to stand still while somebody's jumping and yelling and screaming, that is hard. So going back, anytime you're going to do vet work, farrier work, or any of that, put the come-along hitch on and train on them. Now, Dave, one thing we're going to do at the clinic as well is I'm going to teach everybody how to use a twitch. You're going to see me use a twitch and get one nice and quiet. You can see I'm not hurting them. You'll see exactly right there, folks. You'll see it, how quiet they'll be working with their feet, how quiet they'll be at vet work. Every single mule and donkey I have trained over the years have all learned to be on a come-along hitch and a twitch. Two of the number one things because of the amount of work that you're going to be doing with them, okay?
Awesome. Let's see here. Next question. This one comes from Eileen. She says, is there any truth that whorls and swirls on the face or head of an equine, cattle too, can give an indication of personality or temperament?
Yeah, that's been an old wives' tale for years. In the middle, Dave, the hair can be shaped in different shapes and this sort of thing. And it depends on which trader you talk to or which old mule guy or whatever as to what it is. I used to kind of go by it a little bit. I just go by the eye, you know. I go by the eye. And the next thing I go by is when I pick up on the halter if I immediately got response. Because even if a mule or a donkey doesn't have good foundational training, they will not brace against that halter if it's put on there correctly. They'll want to go with you. So that shows disposition. You know, when you buy a mule, folks, don't buy for color or training or anything else. You buy for disposition first. That's what you want.
Disposition first, conformation second. What was third? Color and other sorts of things, and then training fourth.
Yeah, actually, it's training third.
Training third, and then color and everything else fourth. But really, it's disposition first, conformation second, and those are the two big ones.
That's the two main ones. Because if I can get those two going, then the training's going to go pretty easy. You know, very easy.
So another question then is, it, if it's disposition first, confirmation second, is there anything, if maybe the confirmation isn't there, is there anything that I can do to, hey, it seems like it's got a great disposition, but there seems to like it's got a downhill hip, maybe there's some other issues, the scapula might have been ridden on. Is it worth going ahead and getting that, or would you hold off and get another and wait for that perfect, mule? Because there is no perfect mule, but you get what I'm saying.
As good as you can get. Listen, it don't cost you any more to feed a good mule than does a sorry mule. Okay, and here's the thing: when you are getting a mule, you get a vet check. Make sure when that vet looks at that mule, doesn't just look for clear eyes and a clear nose. Don't that anybody can do that. You have that vet put the x-ray on that scapula, both sides. You have that vet put the x-ray on the front feet, because it's really easy to have one crippled up. It's really easy. And a lot of folks don't have the eye for it. And a lot of people are not real honest when it comes down to drugs. They'll drug one up to make it look good. And that's where your vet is going to look at it. Don't just, worst thing you can do, folks, is to buy one on the internet. Don't be doing that. It is tough. You need to be touching that mule, smell it, let it spend time with you. Because some of these mules ain't going to want to have nothing to do with you. They may look good on the screen, but until you touch them, smell them, taste them, so to speak, it's worth the plane ticket and the rental car to go touch them. Okay? If you're happy with that mule, the vet check looks good, now it's got to be you. Now you get some mules, like my wife's mule, Stacy, she loved everybody. No problem. Whatever you want to do, is kind of like my sister-in-law. She'll get along with you no matter what. Everything's good. But you'll have some mules that says, nope, I only like David. I don't want to be around Steve, and you'll have that as well.
I'm putting a link right now. We have a new article that came out just a little bit while ago. It's how to buy a mule at auction or on Craigslist. And there's a lot of really great information in there for folks to go through and explore. Hey, these are the best places to find mules for sale. And that's kind of a little bit of a trick question. I think what I've taken away from you, Steve, when it comes to buying a mule is there's really no best place to buy a mule. There's only the best things that I can do for myself to prepare myself to buy a mule, so I can spot it when I see it and not feel like I'm taking a chance. Because, man, you maybe you get a mule for, I don't even know what a good price is. I mean, you could probably buy them all over the range, but you get a mule for $1,000. Okay, that's great. Now you got to get a trailer, and that's going to be, I don't know, $10,000. So now you're $11,000 in. Then you got to get a truck if you don't have one. That's going to be $25,000. Which, by the way, Steve Edwards has a Dodge Ram for sale. I will put some information in the comments section. Steve Edwards has a Dodge Ram for sale. So now you've got your trailer. Now you're buying Steve Edwards Dodge Ram, and so now you're in this thing close to $35,000, $40,000. And you got a mule that you can't do anything with. So it really, I like what you said, Steve. It's worth the plane ticket to travel, go see this mule, say, show me, turn on the forehands, turn on the hindquarters, side pass in a 10-foot circle. And if they can't do that, you've got your answer right there, and you just saved yourself who knows how many thousands of dollars and a headache.
That's right. Yeah, and a plane ticket.
And a plane ticket.
Because it's, if I can see it on screen, because here's what I see, Steve or Dave, is dog and pony shows. That's all I see. When I'm looking at these auctions, I watch guys fall off their mules. Well, what are you doing drinking and you're going to be on your mule? It's another story. And they crawl between your legs. So what, folks? That only shows disposition there at that spot. Get on the side of a mountain and fall off a mule and see if your mule still stays there. Yeah, it's another story. Dog and pony shows, folks, unfortunately, is what a lot of people want to see because they don't have basic working knowledge of what foundation is.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, Steve, it's 3:57. We got through all the questions. Hey, Jack just joined us, checking in from Johannesburg, Michigan. Under 10 degrees and dropping. Stay warm, Jack. You know what? Better yet, Jack, come out to Arizona. Come hang out with us. We'll see. How about you say first weekend in March? Come spend a little bit of time with us. That'd be good. Steve, anything you want to say before we're done today?
No, I think we're done. And notice here, Dave, I got my Australian hat on.
That's right.
This is a hat given to me by my very good friend, Dave Scholl in Australia. Him and his lovely wife, Di.
They're fantastic.
Great folks. I spent a couple of weeks with them in Australia, and they're better than family. They were great. And then Ian and Mariana in the other part of Australia was great. So Australians, get ready now. There's some secrets coming. There's some new stuff coming. These mule and donkeys in Australia, you've got a whole new life coming up. It's going to be a whole new situation. So that part of it's done. Yes, I got my truck for sale. Awesome truck. It's only got less than 85,000 miles. I think we're going to put some information on the internet pretty soon on my website.
Yeah.
Have that done so you folks can see that.
What year again was it?
It's a 2015.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got all kinds of extras, level ride, suspension, custom wheels, nice vehicle, really nice vehicle. And anyway, going back, and then this clinic, I am looking so forward to this. We are going to have fun. I want you all to come and bring questions. Let me help you out with different things. Come on, spectators. You're going to see people. I got people coming from Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, California, right here in Arizona, New Mexico. The people are coming from all over, bringing their mules, and then we got spectators from as far away as Maine that are coming. So
I feel like we should be singing. I feel like you started singing the 50 nifty states. We got people coming from Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois. And that's the song that's being sung around my house right now. I got an 8-year-old, a 7-year-old, and little Stevie. He just turned 4 on Monday. And they're all running around singing the 50 nifty United States. Of course, Arizona is the best of the 50 nifty United States. That's why we're inviting you all to come out. So, hey, everyone, thanks for spending some time with us here today. We know you could be doing a lot of different things. The fact that you chose to spend an hour with us, it really does mean a lot. And we look forward to seeing you next week. If there's anything that we can do to help you, just reach out. You can go to muleranch.com. All of the tack, all of the training, free videos, high-quality paid videos, saddles, everything is there. And we just want to help you. So reach out if there's anything we can do. Bottom line, we're grateful for you, and we cannot wait to see you next week. Steve, see you next week then?
Hey, see you next week. Remember, my favorite F-bomb is free.
You'll find a whole lot of F-bombs then on muleranch.com. See you guys.